Your poor friend's parents have invited you over for dinner. Do this so you don't look ridiculous. Leave your wallet at home, wear old shoes, and say hello to the whole family when you arrive. Don't take pictures of their ugly house or ask why they only have one room for everyone. And be careful. If you notice a bad smell, don't say anything. It's probably grandpa, and the family might get upset. At dinner, don't ask about the food. It might be their old pet. Also, if the house has some water leaks, never ask for drinkable water. The family collects dirty rainwater. Finally, never go out the house after midnight. It's very likely that their neighbor is a violent criminal and will kidnap you. If I traveled back to the Old West, this is what I would do. First, I'd go coyote hunting and make myself a coat out of their fur to gain respect and blend in with the local people. Then, since I need money to feed myself, I'd look for a bounty hunter's wanted poster. Then I'd go after the criminal, but along the way, a band of Apaches would ambush me on the road, so I'd offer my coat to the chief and tell him we should go after the criminal together. But why? Because the Apaches are the most skilled warriors when it comes to ambushes. The chief would become my friend. Together, we'd catch the bandit and collect the reward. If we catch enough of these criminals, we'll have enough money to retire until civilization makes its way to our time.
If you find yourself lost in the desert, look for dead animal corpses. If you sleep inside their body, you won't freeze to death during the night. If you have to cross a frozen river, take off your clothes. Once wet, it will weigh tons of pounds. You'll move so slow that hypothermia could kill you. If you come across a bear, don't even try to feed it. It will think you have unlimited food and will chase you until it eats you. If you're on vacation and your house is empty, don't forget to leave one light on. Criminals will believe that there are still people inside and they won't rob your house.
They filled dead rats with plastic explosives and placed them near German buildings that used coal-fired furnaces. This strange World War II trap was developed by the British scientists and was called the explosive rat trap. You see, when the Germans found the rats, they would throw them into the boilers to burn them. This would trigger the explosives and cause a devastating explosion. But the explosive rat scheme was early discovered by the German soldiers, and not a single one was ever detonated.
A thief broke into a supermarket to steal in 2008, and while escaping, he was surprised to see a giant lollipop. The man thought it was real, but after licking it, he realized it was actually fake. However, his tongue had left behind a clue for the police because, just like fingerprints, every person's tongue has a unique pattern. So investigators used the tongue print left on the lollipop to identify the thief, and a few days later, the police arrested him and sent him to jail.
A woman pulled a small red worm out of her eye, and over several days she removed another 14. They were 1 centimeter long, and they were crawling through the inside of her eye. Doctors had never seen anything like it in a human anywhere in the world. You see, a few days earlier, a fly had landed on her eye, and before she could shoo it away, the fly laid eggs and parasites all over her eye. Surgeons removed the worms with tweezers, and she was able to fully recover. A young woman jumped into a whale tank in a water park, but as she sank into the water, the freezing temperatures paralyzed her legs below zero, and she couldn't make it back to the surface. But just as she began to drown, a dolphin whale saw her struggling and drowning. These types of whales are known for their intelligence and being friendly with humans, and it realized something was wrong. The dolphin whale swam quickly toward the drowning woman and used its nose to push her toward the surface. And just as she was about to run out of oxygen, the dolphin whale lifted her out of the water, and she could finally breathe again.
A woman passed out during a heavy snowstorm while trying to get help after suffering a serious car accident caused by snow buildup on the road. She was only 5 meters away from a house, but nobody realized she was there. Police officers were called, and they found her body 6 hours later, completely frozen, that doctors could not insert needles into it, and her body temperature was so low that medical thermometers could not even measure it. The doctors believed she had died, but they still decided to slowly warm her body using heated packs, and miraculously, she woke up and eventually made a full recovery. Why is my channel called Big Dan Baby? Well, it's actually kind of a sad story. When I was in 2nd grade, I got really chubby, and the bullies were quick to call me Dan the Big, Mr. Gas, Big Dan. It was really over the top for a kid my age, but it wasn't so much because of the food. It was because I loved drinking soda. Then some idiot decided to say I was pregnant and called me Big Gas Baby, and I don't know how everyone ended up calling me Big Dan Baby, so I took that awful nickname, used it for my channel, and turned it into my personal brand. Why is my channel called Big Dan Baby? Well, it's because of my dad. People have always called him Dan. He used to be really short, but when he turned 15, he grew a lot. He even ended up taller than my grandpa, and suddenly he became a true legend. He played soccer, did athleticism, even wrestled. The guy was so unstoppable that people started calling him Big Dan. So when I was born, it wasn't long before they started calling me Big Dan Baby. When I started the channel, I thought it would have a wider international reach if I used it in English, and the rest is history. Have you ever wondered why crackers always have a small hole right in the center? Many people believe it is so you can put condiments or toppings between the crackers, but the real reason behind it is actually a little smarter. In fact, these small holes are what allow a cracker to become crispy and salty. You see, these holes allow steam to escape while the cracker is baking in the oven, and this helps them stay flat instead of puffing up like a sweet cookie. She installed a hidden microphone in her daughter's room because every morning they heard footsteps and toys moving on their own. The device was only meant to confirm that there was a logical explanation for everything. That very night, at exactly 3 a.m., the recorder began to pick up a whisper that woke the mother. She picked up her phone and heard someone singing to the little girl from her crib. The woman was frightened, dropped the phone, and ran into the room. When she entered, there wasn't anyone by the bed, and the little girl was calling for her dad, but her father had passed away 2 years earlier. She installed a motion sensor camera in her children's bedroom because every time they went to school, the mother could hear someone playing with their toys, and the camera was just to make sure there was a reasonable explanation for it all. That morning, around noon, the sensor detected something moving in the room and began recording as the toys were thrown onto the floor. The mother went into the room to have a look, and when she walked in, she saw all the toys spread out in a mess. When her children came home, they asked their mother, "Have you met our friend yet?"
Most people choose the wrong seat in a taxi. If you sit up front right next to the driver, it seems very friendly and easy to strike up a nice conversation at first. But once the conversation ends, you're left in a really awkward situation. Others choose to sit right behind the driver, thinking it's the most comfortable spot. But it's usually the most cramped seat with the least space for your legs. So it's best to choose the back seat on the passenger side. It gives you more space and a little more distance. The woman leaned forward to pet a beluga whale, but as she reached out, her phone slipped out of her pocket and fell into the cold ocean water. But when she began to panic, the beluga whale realized what had happened. So the beluga submerged herself in the cold, dark water to look for the woman's phone. And just when she thought she had lost her phone forever, the beluga emerged from the water with the phone in its mouth.
If your cat grew to the size of a tiger, you might think it would look very cute, but it would weigh more than 300 kilograms. And unlike a wild animal, it would not be afraid of you at all. One small jump could crush your lungs, and a gentle bite might easily shatter your bones. While playing, it could swat your head around like a toy and end up breaking your neck. And when it finished playing with you, it might fall asleep on top of you and accidentally suffocate you to death. If you drop a cat from the top of the Burj Khalifa, could it land on its feet? Look, when you drop them from a normal height, cats have a special ability that allows them to twist their bodies in mid-air in a fraction of a second. And thanks to this, they can land on their feet. But if you drop one from the Burj Khalifa, those reflexes won't help much. Beyond a certain height, the impact is too strong, and it really doesn't matter how the cat lands. If you get infected with rabies, the virus travels from the wound toward the brain. Once it reaches the brain, you may start noticing symptoms similar to the flu. Days later, you may experience confusion, dizziness, and even a fear of water. And this fear of water can make swallowing extremely difficult, causing excess saliva to build up in the mouth as foam. Weeks later, you may fall into a very deep coma, and because rabies has no effective cure, you will die. When the police arrest you and your criminal partner, they'll give you two options. If you both remain silent, you'll each get 1 year in prison. But if you confess and your partner stays completely silent, you'll go free and he'll get 10 years. The easiest choice is to confess and walk free while your friend goes to jail alone. But your friend is thinking exactly the same thing. And if you both confess, you'll each get 5 years. That means that the best outcome is for both of you to remain silent and get only 1 year. But fear causes both of you to end up confessing. If you fire a gun straight ahead while riding on a super fast train, you'll see the bullet fly out as usual. But from the ground, the bullet's speed adds to the train's speed, making it appear to be moving twice as fast. Now, if you turn around and shoot in the other direction, you'd see the bullet travel toward the back of the train. And if its speed exactly matches the train's forward motion, they'd cancel each other out, and it would look like the bullet simply falls to the ground.
What color do you think these school subjects are? For me, math has always been blue and literature is red. I don't know why. Science is definitely green. Geography is orange. History has to be brown. Chemistry is pink just because. And physical education is purple. Art is yellow, and I'm not arguing about that.
If you go to an amusement park, bring a pair of crutches, and pretend you need to walk with them. That way, you could avoid waiting in all the lines. If the girl you like already has a boyfriend, create a fake Instagram profile and flirt with him. You could expose him for cheating and then comfort the girl you like. If you can't sleep at night, take a warm shower before going to sleep. Your brain will feel your body temperature dropping, and you may fall asleep in less than 3 minutes. If your urine smells like popcorn when you go to the bathroom, go see a doctor as soon as possible, because it can be a common sign of diabetes.
If I traveled to an alien planet, this is what I would do to survive. First, I would look for an alien city to study them for a while, and then Then I would introduce myself as a superior being. If they see me as an inferior being, they'll just use me for experiments. I would tell them stories about Earth, and since they know nothing about it, they'll be fascinated. Once I've gained their trust, I'd order them to build me a spaceship so I can return to Earth. But since that would take them a long time, I'd order them to build me a luxurious temple where I'll wait for the ship. I'll just wait patiently until I can board the ship and return to Earth as a total hero.